Today we're going to talk about odometer fraud on your car. Now, busting mileage happens in a few different ways. The first of which is going out and buying an OBD tool here, which is about $200 online, and you can plug that in and reprogram it in a couple of seconds. Now, what's even cheaper than that is you go to the junkyard, find a used cluster with less mileage. It's literally 4 screws and a plug on the back, and swap that over to your car. The mileage typically stays with the cluster, and bam, you've earned your vehicle 50,000 kilometers back. Now, if you're old school and you got a mechanical odometer, you can just rewind it with a drill, or if you're like me and you don't want to spend any money at all, you could just reprogram the EEPROM inside here. I've got another video on how I've done that way back in the past, so check that link above. And just to illustrate where the chip is, this is a cluster out of a Lexus RX 400H. Pop off the back here, and we can pop off the back part here. Now, as you saw, accessible are these 4 prongs here and these 4 prongs over here. And if you trace those pins, it comes to this dip chip over here, which is a 93C46. Now, this has only got 8 pins on there, but you only need 5 of them to do reprogramming. Now, what I've done in the past is desolder this chip and then connect it directly to the serial port on my computer, where I can download, modify, and write new hex characters to this to change the mileage on here. Now, Toyota made this even easier by putting these breakouts over here where you can just touch your contactors to and reprogram it instantly. And in these old Toyotas, this is the only place that they store mileage information. Now, busting miles is very easy to do and relatively undetectable. That's why a lot of people do it. So for example, you got a leased vehicle coming up to return, or you've got warranty coming up, you want to claim, you back off the mileage a little bit so you don't get charged extra. There's the perceived increased value of something that hasn't been used as much, supposedly might last longer. And then of course there's a misconception of powertrain replacement. When you replace your engine on the vehicle, that does not mean you reset your odometer to 0. The odometer reading goes with the VIN and the chassis of the vehicle, so you leave that intact. Finally, a lot of vehicles get exported out of North America to third world countries and get their odometers rolled back. A lot of countries don't want clapped out vehicles entering their borders, so if you roll back the odometer, it kind of perceives a better value. So if it's so easy to do, who really is the one getting affected? Well, the customers who are paying more for these vehicles. For example, a vehicle at $150K might be worth $10,000, but one with $120K might be worth maybe $12,000. Not only are you paying more up front, but let's say you bought that vehicle, repairs start to add up. It's like, why is my struts blowing at 100K? Why is my seat worn out? Why is my muffler falling off? These things add up pretty quickly, and the customer is basically getting double whammy. Odometer scams affect a disproportionate amount of vehicles. For example, a very reliable, hot demand vehicle like a Toyota Tacoma, you couldn't tell if the thing had 400 or 200K on it. Very good candidate for an odometer scam. Moreover, diesel vehicles also last a very long time, as well as trucks and commercial vehicles. They tend to pack on a lot of mileage, so rolling those back would be very advantageous. Also, if you're like me and you take great condition of your vehicles at home, there's no real service records there, and the vehicle could pass with one of much less mileage, make a very good flip for some scammer who wants to buy it, roll it back, and make a quick buck. So this whole thing sounds dishonest and scampish enough. What does the law have to say about this? Well, surprisingly, you can be a guy like me in my backyard just tampering with odometers and doing programming, and you're completely legal. Only when you come to sell the car do you have to disclose it to the following person or mark it as true mileage unknown. In Canada, we have the Weights and Measures Act because the odometer is a measuring device, and in the US they had to make a completely separate odometer law for it way back in the day. Now, that being said, a lot of people still get away with this. You got to be really doing it on the masses before you get booked. The tools that you buy online are also very legal to do this because they're marketed as odometer correction as opposed to rolling it back. So let's say you're looking for a decent car and you want to mitigate the risk of being clocked on. Well, the first thing you'll look for is physical evidence on the odometer itself. Now, if this lens is all scratched up or I left fingerprints on my beard here behind the glass here, you know it's been tampered with. Next, we'll check the age and condition of the vehicle and if it matches the mileage. So for example, this dead pedal here is pretty worn. These seats are really worn. This armrest, the steering wheel I had to wrap, it was really worn out. Let me know in the comment section down below how much mileage you think this van has. We've also got to check the condition of the paint, previous accidents, dings and dents, fogged up headlights, because a vehicle that's worn out less is probably lower mileage. Chips like this is a good thing. That means that whatever mileage it has was a lot of highway mileage. Hard to see, but the window on this one was also severely pitted. And it's the original Lexus glass. Putting that together, it tells you that this vehicle has high highway mileage. Next up, there's the Carfax reports. Now remember, this only depends on things that report to it. So if you're not getting your vehicle serviced, recalled, or been in any accidents, nothing's really going to show up here. Then there's service records. Now you can go to franchises like Canadian Tire or the Toyota dealership and ask them to download service records for your particular VIN number. That'll give you a clue of what was serviced and what mileage it was at what time, compared to the time and mileage that it's at right now. You can also do a VIN search with your Ministry of Transport or your DMV. That'll give you the last mileage that was reported to it. But moreover, just search the VIN in Google. You could probably get an auction listing for the vehicle at what mileage it was at, or if it was even a rebuilt. Now in newer vehicles, the odometer reading is not just on this chip itself, it's actually in all of the other ECUs. For example, the transmission or engine control module. And if you've got a scan tool that's more capable of scanning everything, you can probably pull mileage out of those ECUs to see what we're looking at. And as your vehicle ages, mileage becomes less important than maintenance. For example, here's my Lexus GS350. And this car is almost 20 years old. But if you look at the overall condition, it doesn't really scream a 20-year-old 300,000 kilometer car, does it? And that's because in general, I've tried to keep it in decent condition. This is the biggest rust spot, and for a Canadian car, that's really saying something. You see things like expensive tires and the date that they've been changed gives you an idea of how the person took care of this car. And that's where I'd easily take a 20-year-old, well-maintained Lexus with 300,000 kilometers over a Jetta or a Ford for the same $5,000. Now this cluster is out of a Prius, and it took quite a bit of effort to get this out, removing the top part of the dash. This has a heads-up display built in as well, so let me know if you guys want to see a little teardown shorts on that one. And these are the two breakout pins, and that leads directly to our odometer chip, which is this guy here. And if you search it up, you'll see that it is used in automotive applications for instrument clusters. These are so cool just to play around with and make you feel like you're going fast. Now I want you to tell me in the comment section down below if you've ever been caught up in an odometer scam and how you got out of it, or if you've reprogrammed one of these yourself. Share, like, and subscribe.